She said one name that nobody expected, and that name was LeBron James. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear is not just a golf interview. This is the blueprint of what it actually looks like to be number one in the world. And I'm going to break down every single thing she said, word by word, because most people miss what was really going on here. I'm Rick. This is Rick Analysis PGA. Let's get into it. Real quick. If you're new here, this channel is where we go deeper than the highlights. We analyze what the top players are actually saying, thinking, and doing when the cameras are on. Hit subscribe and the bell right now, because later in this video, I'm going to reveal something she said about her mental routine that no golf coach is talking about, and it might completely change how you approach your own game. All right, let's go. Who is she? So if you watched this interview, you saw the host open with something simple. The number one golfer in the world is here right now. And the crowd went crazy. But watch how she responded. She didn't pump her fist. She didn't say, "I'm the best." She said, and I'm paraphrasing, "It's an amazing accomplishment, but there's so much more to accomplish." Right there, in the first 10 seconds, she told you exactly who she is. This is someone who has reached the absolute peak of women's golf. And her first instinct is to look forward, not back. That is not normal. Most athletes, when they finally reach number one, they enjoy it. They sit in it. She's already thinking about what's next. That's our first clue into how this mindset works. And trust me, this gets way more interesting as we go. Hunted or hunter? The host asked her, "Do you prefer to be the hunted or the hunter?" Now I love this question because it tells you so much about a player's psychology. A lot of players, especially younger ones, will say, "Oh, I love being a hunter. I love chasing." Because being the hunted means everyone is coming for you every single week. But she said something else. She said, "I've been in both positions, and I enjoy both of them." That's a champion's answer. Here's why. When you're the hunter, you're hungry. You're loose. You have nothing to lose. But when you're the hunted, that's when pressure separates the great from the legendary. And she said there's no greater feeling than being on the back nine of a major head-to-head with everything on the line. She doesn't just tolerate pressure. She thrives in it. And this connects to something she said later in the interview that completely stopped me. I'll get to that in a few minutes. But what she revealed about her pre-round routine, it explains exactly why she performs when it matters most. Keep watching. One word. Grateful when the host asked to describe where she is in life right now in one word. She said grateful. Now here's the thing. On the surface, that sounds like a PR answer. Generic, safe, but she went deeper. She said she's grateful for her team and grateful for the position she's in to inspire the next generation. That word, inspire, comes up multiple times in this interview. And every time it does, I want you to notice how she connects her personal success to something bigger than herself. This is actually a well-documented pattern in elite athletes, the ones who last longest at the top, the ones who avoid burnout. They almost always have a why that's bigger than trophies. Her why is a little girl watching golf on TV who looks like her and thinks, "Maybe I can do this too." That's not a marketing line. You can hear it in her voice. That's real. Federer and Nadal? A golfer? Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. The host asks, "Who did you look up to growing up?" And she doesn't say Tiger Woods. She doesn't name a single female golfer first. She says Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. Let that land for a second. The number one golfer in the world modeled herself after two tennis players. And when you dig into why, it actually makes complete sense. She said she loved Nadal for his fire and passion, and she loved Federer for his composure. Think about that combination. Fire and composure. That is literally the perfect recipe for a major champion. Nadal never gives up a point, even when he's down 2 sets. Federer walks onto center court looking like he just woke up from a nap, totally unshakable. She took the best of both. The emotional fuel from Nadal, the ice-cold calmness from Federer. And then the host said something funny. "I love this caprice." And she cracked up, which tells you something else. She doesn't take herself too seriously. That self-awareness and humor is another thing elite performers share. Now, she did mention one female golfer she looked up to. And that person is incredibly important to her story. We'll talk about that next. The sister factor. Her sister, 5 years older, started playing the LPGA in 2011, and she was 13 years old watching that happen. She called her sister her best friend, and not just in the casual way people say that. She said her sister is out here this week with her little boy, Grayson, and it's bringing great vibes to the house. Here's what I want you to think about. A lot of elite athletes come from families that push them, and sometimes that pressure can break a person. But when you have a sibling doing the same thing, someone who isn't just a parent cheering from the sidelines, but actually in the arena with you, that changes everything. Her sister wasn't competition. She was a roadmap. Watch how she talks about sharing the Olympic podium with her sister. That moment comes later, and it is one of the most genuine moments in this entire interview. But first, the U.S. Open, and what she said about it that I think reveals more than she even realized. The U.S. Open and unfinished business. The host asked her, coming back this year, do you feel different? And she said, I'm just happy to be here. Now that could sound like a non-answer, but here's the context. This is someone who played her first U.S. Women's Open at 14 years old. In 2013, she's been chasing this moment for over a decade. She said, every single time I get to play in a Women's Open, I'm just grateful, and I relive those butterfly feelings from when I was 14. That is remarkable, because most top players will tell you that familiarity breeds comfort. The longer you've been doing something, the less butterflies you feel. But she keeps connecting back to that 14-year-old girl who is just happy to be there. That emotional anchor keeps her humble and hungry at the same time. And when the host asked what it would mean to win, she said everything, no hesitation. There's still unfinished business at the U.S. Open, and that fire, it's still burning. Now, let's talk about the Olympics, because what she said about standing on that podium, I did not expect to feel what I felt when I heard this. The Olympic moment. Tokyo, COVID, no fans. She said it was an interesting experience because the stands were empty, but then the volunteers came together on the 18th hole. They gathered around, and it felt like there were fans there. And then she said, when I stood on that podium, I never had a bigger rush of emotions. I started crying a little. I never thought growing up I was actually going to be able to do that. Here's what gets me. This woman, #1 golfer in the world, major champion, Olympic gold medalist, and she still didn't believe that could happen to her when she was young, because golf wasn't even an Olympic sport when she was growing up. She watched gymnastics, figure skating, track and field. Golf wasn't part of that world. And then one day she's standing on a podium with a gold medal around her neck with her sister on the same team. That's not just an athletic achievement. That's a complete rewriting of what she thought was possible for herself. And that, right there, is the most important thing in this entire interview. Not the #1 ranking. Not the major wins. It's the fact that she kept going even when she couldn't see the destination. Coming up, the moment she revealed her entire pre-round mental routine. And I promise you, it is not what you expect. Stay with me. The secret mental routine. Okay, this is the moment I promised you at the beginning. The host asked if she listens to music or has any hype ritual before she competes. And she said, not at all. Not at all. No hype music. No pump-up playlist. She said she drives herself to the golf course, and she has a very specific structure. She arrives 2 hours before her tee time. She has lunch or breakfast with her team. She warms up for 30 minutes. Then she walks onto the range exactly 1 hour before her tee time. That's it. Calm, controlled, consistent. Now here's why this is fascinating. Most athletes, especially in individual sports, rely on external stimulation to get into the zone. Music, visualization exercises, aggressive warm-ups. She does the opposite. She creates a predictable environment that her nervous system already knows. By the time she walks onto the first tee, her brain isn't trying to figure out what's happening. It's already been here 1,000 times before. And she even said herself, structure, that was her word. This is next-level sports psychology being described in casual conversation. And most people watching this interview probably just heard she eats lunch before she plays. No, she built a mental fortress. And she does it the same way every single time. Now, she's also getting married. And what she said about the wedding, her fiancé, and even the dress, it shows you a completely different side. Let's go there. The real person behind the number one. Okay, let's talk about life off the course for a second. She's engaged, getting married in 2027. Both she and her brother are tying the knot in the same year. He's going to Europe. She's staying in the U.S. She's already started a Pinterest board, getting married on the water. And she tried on a dress, but said showed too much, wanted something with a higher neckline. And now she's more confused than before, which is relatable to anyone who has ever planned a wedding or been near one. But the part that got me was when she talked about her fiancé. She said he's probably her best support system. He always has her back. And her nephew, little Grayson, apparently says his name more than hers when she visits. She joked, "Hi, I'm here too. Please love me." And that joke, that's important, because it tells you that away from golf, she's not the number one player in the world. She's just a person who wants her nephew to like her. That groundedness, that ability to completely detach from the identity of being a champion when she walks off the course. That's part of why she's still standing at the top. All right, let's bring this home. Here's what I took away from this interview, and what I think you should take away too. 1. She doesn't define herself by the ranking. She holds it lightly. That's why it won't crush her if it changes, and why she'll fight to get it back if it does. 2. She borrowed from athletes outside her sport. Federer's composure, Nadal's fire. If you're only watching golfers to get better at golf, you're leaving something on the table. 3. Her pre-round routine is boring on purpose. Predictability is her superpower. She's not trying to get pumped up. She's trying to feel exactly like she always feels. 4. The people around her, her sister, her team, her fiancé, even Grayson, they are not distractions from her success. They are the foundation of it. And 5, the most important one, she still feels butterflies at the U.S. Open after all these years, after a gold medal, after a world number one ranking. She hasn't lost the feeling. And that's the difference between someone who wins once and someone who keeps winning. Now, in a future video, I'm going to go even deeper into the psychology of what separates the players who get to number one from the ones who stay there. Because those are two completely different skill sets. And most people don't talk about that gap. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Drop a comment below. I want to know, what was the moment in this breakdown that surprised you the most? Was it the Federer Nadal thing? The mental routine? The Olympic podium story? Tell me below. I'm Rick. This is Rick Analysis PGA. See you in the next one.